911, what's your emergency? 911, what's your emergency?
Be advised, Car 4 has control of the pursuit. Proceed with caution.
Hey everybody, welcome. I'm sorry that I'm late. Hang on a second. Oh, hey. What's going on with that? There we go. Oh, it's been wild, guys. It's been really wild. And I have a lot to tell you about what's been going on in my real life. And we're going to talk about Delphi, and we're going to get caught up and hopefully, get to the bottom of some things here with what's been going on with this case, because it's been really crazy. Hang on, I'm just trying to get my background fixed and some stuff. Oh, it's good to see everybody. Thank you all for hanging in there and being patient with me. I'm sorry I haven't been live. I'm sorry that I've been kind of absent leading up to the trial. I've had just an enormous amount of stress going on in my real life. So you guys have, a lot of you have met my daughter, Shelby, who has been on my show with me before, and her birthday is October 1st. And my middle grandson, who's autistic, that I've talked to you guys about, who made the football team last year and as a kicker, and who is one of the smartest people I know. This kid is amazing, truly amazing. He has a photographic memory. Hold on one second. My cat just opened my office door. Just a minute. Get out of here. Go, 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 go. You weren't invited in. Sorry, guys. When it rains, it pours. So anyway, his birthday is the 10th, which was Thursday. Jackson, who is my youngest grandson, will turn 7 tomorrow, and he is spending the night with me. I will tell you why in a minute. He has been, he's on fall break he was on fall break all this week, and he's on fall break all next week. And he has been at me to spend the night, and I haven't been able to let him. And so tonight I did, even though I was going live. So he's here with me. He's not in the room with me, but he's here. Anyway, so we started out the month. It was October. There's a lot. October is a hard month for me. The 16th of October is the anniversary of my son's death. And so leading up to October, my body always realizes that things aren't really great before I really do mentally or emotionally. But this month, I didn't get that because it came in with a bang. So my daughter's birthday was on the 1st. And then on the 3rd, I think it was the 3rd, last Thursday morning, I was woke up out of a sound sleep in the morning by my sister-in-law letting me know that my brother was having severe chest pain and was headed to the hospital by ambulance. And this is the hospital that I used to work at. And it's one of the best in downstate Illinois. It's a trauma center, and I can't say enough about it. It's a great place. So anyway, I get to the hospital and I'm sitting with him in the emergency room, in his room. They took him down to do a CAT scan of his chest. They were just doing a whole bunch of stuff, blood work, started an IV, doing all the normal stuff. He comes back from the CAT scan. He's still having severe chest pain. He's having pain in his arm, his left arm. He's having pain in his jaw. All the signs of a heart attack. But they kept telling him that his heart, actually from the monitor, was looking okay. But all the symptoms were there. And so they came in and to do an EKG. And while they were doing the EKG, he actually had the full-blown heart attack. So he ended up in intensive care. They did an emergency heart catheterization and went in and put in a balloon stent in his aorta. And it was a bad scene. The surgeon came out and told me that they could not intervene any more surgically than they did, because he had way too many blockages, and the blockages were too hard to get to. One of them was on the back side of the heart at 100%. One of them was on the front side of the heart at the bottom. And that one was 65% blocked. And then he's got a whole bunch of other ones. So that wasn't good news. And so they just kept doing tests. They finally, a month before this happened, he had informed me that he lost the feeling in his left side and lost the use of his left leg for about 2 days. He told me this after it happened. Great older brother, right? And I'm like, you had a stroke. And he's like, no, I didn't have a stroke. I said, yes, you did. So while he was in intensive care, they did a full workup. They went in and did a CAT scan of his head. And lo and behold, a month ago, he had a stroke. There were also telltale signs that he had previously had TIAs. He was diagnosed with AFib. He is a smoker. He smoked about 2 packs of cigarettes a day for about 50 years. And he also smokes marijuana. He also is a retired firefighter for the Forest Service. So he has a lot of history of smoke and smoking and just all kinds of things. So lo and behold, it kind of threw a shoe into my whole plan of what I was going to do for my channel leading up to the trial. I was really hoping that I would be able to do more and do some stuff. And that didn't pan out the way I wanted it to, because he ended up really sick. They were able to finally stabilize him and get him on heart medication. And he's on a ton of drugs, like 12 different drugs now. He was not taking anything before. And I was able to finally get him home on Wednesday. But I am going to be taking him and my sister-in-law to a lot of doctor's appointments, because she's 71 and she has her own issue, her own health issues. She's a breast cancer survivor. And she is starting to really become forgetful. So it's just been a lot, you guys. It's just been a lot. And then you guys all know, because I told you about my really dear friend who was scheduled on the 7th of October for her double mastectomy. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in July. So that happened. She had her 6.5-hour surgery on Monday, and he was in the intensive care unit. So I was going and volleying back and forth with her and him. So it's been a lot this week. So that's why I've not been here. I'm really happy to be back. I'm really happy to be with you all. Let's say hello to everybody. Hey, Witchcraft, good to see you. Hi, Jill. Hey, 63 Clocks, how are you? Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Olivia. Good to see you. Hey, Mitzi, how are you? How are you? Hey, Peggy Day. Good to see you. Hi, Ziggy. Hi. To everybody that's watching, I'm really happy to have you all here. Hey, Shadow. How are you doing, my dear? Good to see you. And most of the time, you guys, I am live at 8, but I told Frank Meister that I would go early at 7. But like I said, I lost track of time with Jackson here, and so I'm late. So, yeah, it's just me, guys. It's just the way things have been for me this week. Yeah, Mitzi, we're going to talk about the nerves and the trial. Hey, Jennifer, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Linda, how are you? Hey, Denise, good to have you with me. Thank you for being here. Hey, CJK, good to see you. Hey, Tech Death, at an Ohio State party, huh? That's interesting. I hope you have fun. Hey, Gibbo. Hey, Rescue, how are you, my dear? So good to see you, pretty lady. Hey, Kitty Cat, thank you. Welcome in. Yes, Tech Death plays my intro, you guys. So if you like it, please make sure you check out his channel. He also gives guitar lessons, and he does them online. So you guys should check him out. Hi, John. How are you? Good to have you with me tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, Frank Meister. How are you? Let me send you an invite. Hold on one second, because God knows I am not been good at this. Hold on a minute. I'm going to forward it to you. All right. There you go, my dear. It's in your email. Thanks, 63 clocks. Yeah, it's been crazy. Thanks, John. So last night, well, on Thursday, my husband and I took our grandson, the middle one, to lunch, and then for his birthday, and then we had his mom had his birthday party that night, and it was just family, and we basically had his favorite meal and stuff. And then last night was his football game, and he got to start last night, which was amazing. And he ended up, it was a phenomenal game, you guys. They won 46-6, and he scored 4 points, and was just, yeah, he did really, really well. His last kick was phenomenal. So anyway, we did that, and that was pretty cool. And my brother got to come. So he made a long walk from the car to the stadium, and yeah, I was really surprised, but he had fun, and he was really glad to get to see Cole play. So that was pretty awesome. So anyway, let's get into it. I'm waiting on Frank Meister to get here. And thanks, Piper's Dream. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, he is my big brother, and he gets on my nerves sometimes, but I love him dearly, and he's a rock for me in so many ways. He and I have been through so much together with our parents, and when we were taking care of my mom together, and after her stroke, and so we just have a really strong bond. But we had a strong bond growing up as well. So anyway, a lot's been going on, and I know that Frank has kept you guys up to date with all the filings and stuff, so I'm not really going to go over that tonight. What I wanted to talk about tonight is what we think the defense might be up to with all these weird filings that they've done in the last couple of days. We are aware that jury selection starts on Monday in Allen County. This is about Abby and Libby, you guys, and anybody that's covering this case and is not willing to talk about them and say their names, I have no use for. Rescue was telling me, I was talking to her on the phone this afternoon, and Rescue was telling me that she happened to watch a podcast where on YouTube where they wouldn't even mention the girls' names. I mean, who does that? Who covers such a tragic story and doesn't even talk about the victims? Salty Beach, it can. It just depends on the jurors and the jury pool and how well they fit and how well both sides like them. So she set aside 4 days. I think that it may not take 4 days. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking at one of my spiders who's acting a little strange. I just wanted to make sure that she's okay. She's okay. She just caught a cricket. Okay. So anyway, tomorrow is the prayer walk for Abby and Libby. It's at 1:30 at the Freedom Bridge. They're in Delphi. And guys, if you're able to get out there, you will not be sorry. It is absolutely worth going. I'm so sorry that I won't be there tomorrow. Yeah, John, it is interesting to see that. John said that some of the better known YouTubers are just now picking up Delphi again. Where have they been for the last few years? Yeah. Yeah, so now that it's coming to trial, they're going to try and cover it. I just think it's ridiculous myself. But it's fine. People want to talk about things, and there are some people that's what they do, is they talk about what the case of the day is, or what big case is the forefront of national media. And this case is going to have plenty of national media, as we well know. There will be national media in Delphi next week. It'll be really interesting to see how much of this is actually covered. I believe that Nancy Grace will be all over it. I think that Court TV is going to be all over this. There are people that are all over this that I wish would just crawl under a rock and go away, honestly. Just between you and me. I want to say that my heart and my prayers are with both Abby and Libby's families. I've been so caught up with my own stuff that I haven't reached out to Becky, but I'm going to reach out to her this weekend and just let her know that I'm sending my love and support. She already knows that, but I just want her to know that, that behind the crime door is 150% behind them, and that we will be with them throughout this entire ordeal. Because it's going to be really hard. Frank is not going to jury selection. He's been on a jury, doesn't have any desire to sit through that. It is really a long, long day and process listening to the questions and all of that, you guys. It really, really is. So I don't know who's actually going to be covering that for YouTube at all. I really don't know who will be there. I do know that there are some people trying to work out logistics to be there in Delphi for the trial. And that's great if they can, if they can do that. I can't be there for the whole thing. I got bit by a mosquito when I was outside on my ankle, and it is itching me to death. I may try to get over there for a couple of days. Someone has offered to give me shelter. One of my close Delphi friends. So I may try to get over there for that. It's going to be interesting to see how quickly they do seat a jury. I think it may very well be quicker than 4 days. What I'm really more interested in is to see what Fran Gull's going to do Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday regarding these motions that the defense has thrown out, and some of the the answers that the prosecution has given, to see what the feel is on how she's going to handle all of this. I just, for those of you who haven't or who don't follow him, you guys need to go check out, hold on a second, guys. I got to go find it. You need to go check out my really good friend, the Inquisitor, and you need to watch his newest video that dropped today. I think it dropped today. Yeah, it dropped today. And I'm going to drop his channel and the new video in the chat, and you guys can go check it out because it is really worth watching. He is one of my closest and dearest Delphi friends, and he is got it going on, you guys. He doesn't pull any punches. He doesn't play games. He doesn't put out any kind of content that he doesn't feel is absolutely relevant. And he hates the drama in the Delphi community. And so anytime he puts out videos, they are definitely worth watching. And his Delphi stuff and his Delphi contents are just literally amazing. And the video that he put out today is just him basically going over some really great thoughts. He calls it just some thoughts. And he just talks about a whole bunch of things. He talks about Keegan Kline. He talks about James Chadwell and the whole Ron Logan scenario. He talks about the Shenandoah murders. He talks about Daryl David Rice, who was a serial killer. He talks about the whole case of what's going on in Delphi and why he feels some of the things are happening. And I love how he explains to everyone this whole conspiracy theory network community, whatever you call it, whatever you want, around the Delphi case. He talks at length about that. And I just think that that is really, really worthwhile because there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there that have put out a lot of really bad information over the years. A lot of people ran with it and reported on it and did videos on it and talked about it and gave it basically gave it traction, so to speak. And I've really tried to steer away from doing all of that, especially since Richard Allen's arrest. I kind of told myself when law enforcement made the arrest, I wanted to do no harm. I didn't want to do anything that was going to hurt the case or mess up a jury pool. So I thought that the best thing that I could do would be to try and to cover the case with the most based fact or factual information that I possibly could. And that's what I've done. And that's what I feel like I've tried to do. But he has some great insight, and I'm really happy to send you guys his way so that you can check him out. Now, one of the other things that I was thinking about this afternoon when I was thinking about what we were going to talk about tonight and how I was going to address this, the defense is really doing what the defense is supposed to do. It's supposed to, a good defense is supposed to bring up reasonable doubt about their client. They're supposed to bring up other ways or try to show how someone else would be responsible for the crime that their client has been accused of. So bring in Brad Rosie and you have them, Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie talking about all of these other people. Their first inkling was to blame it on Odinists. And they talked about Patrick Westfall, and they talked about Brad Holder, and they talked about Elvis Fields, and they talked about all these people, right? And they made all these motions, and they did these Franks motions, and they did all this stuff, and they kept trying to say that these Odinists were out there practicing some sort of ritual and killed the girls that day. And I never believed it. I never for one, believe that that was at all in the realm of possibilities at all. You're not going to have that type of thing going on, and it just one day just sort of happens. It just doesn't make any sense. And the evidence that we do have around what happened to Abby and Libby, none of it points to Odinists or people practicing Odinism, whatever. Because I hate saying Odinist, because there's no such thing. An Odinite, there's no such thing. But there's been a lot of words that have, and terms and phraseology that's been coined over this case that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So let's just chalk that up. So that was their first tale, right? That's the first thing that they threw out there to us, and they pushed it hard, and they did it for months and months and months until finally the Honorable Judge Gull said, we're done. We are not going to talk about this anymore. I'm putting a stop to this. There is no evidence that supports what you're claiming. So therefore, I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to allow you to talk about it at trial, and I'm not going to allow you to call these witnesses. Well, now they have gone a different route, and they're calling all of these convicted felons, or they want to. They've actually put in orders to move these men from high security prisons where they are serving, some of them 90-some year sentences for horrific crimes. And let's just bring them to the courtroom for the Abby and Libby case and let them talk about what? What are they going to say? What do they have to add? They're not part of this case. What the heck would James Chadwell have to say about the Abby and Libby case? I mean, come on, you guys. This is them really reaching here. I mean, it's just, no kidding, 63 clocks, because not only do they have all of these felons, but then they have Todd Click, who also is now a felon. He's been charged with some felonies, hasn't he? And we haven't even talked about that yet. The fact that one of their major witnesses for the Odinist stuff was Todd Click, an Indiana police officer, right? And where are they going to go with that? You know, now they find out that it sounds like he may be a not so credible witness, because it sounds like he did some really unhanded things before he became a police officer. I don't know. But yeah, it leads you to wonder, you know, is any of this going to sway a jury? Is any of this stuff going to matter to a jury? And yeah, John, no kidding. You know, I as a defense witness or a defense person, you know, I want my defense made up of all these felons. I mean, it's just, whew. It really begs the point of, you know, credibility and who is credible and who isn't. They want to bring in Ron Logan's cellmate. Why? Ron Logan's not even here to defend himself. He's dead. So what is why? Ron Logan is not Bridge Guy. Ron Logan had nothing to do with this case. I don't understand. I just don't get it, you guys. I just don't get it. But with not getting it, that's the whole point. They want confusion. They are hoping that everything that they're doing at this point will confuse the jury. That's their biggest chance right now, is to confuse them and to let them know, hey guys, it not only could be this guy or this guy, he was accused of doing some horrific things, and is this is it, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Yeah, Salty Beach, no kidding. It's not good when so many of your witnesses need a transport order. But what I think is hilarious is they wrote the orders, and they can't write transport orders. That comes from the court. I mean, I don't know. I saw today, you guys will see that if you watch The Inquisitor, but he talks about, Todd Click came out and said that nobody in law enforcement in Indiana believes that the girls were killed by Odinism. He said that, but yet he ended up being a witness for the defense. And I just, to me, he just isn't credible to me when it comes to a lot of things here, and they need to be really, really careful. It's like, it's one thing to have somebody say, oh, I don't know. I just don't think, I don't hold a lot of credence to what people in prison are willing to go into court and say on someone else's behalf, because what's in it for them? And why are they doing this? What have they been promised? What are they hoping to get out of it? And when you're testifying against a man who's deceased or about a man who's deceased, he's not here to defend himself. I just don't see Frangal allowing any of this, you guys. I just don't. I'll be really, really surprised if she allows these men to be brought into this case. I would be really shocked. And again, she said when she made her decision, the Kleins are not part of this. I don't see why they're even bringing him into this. She has already ruled on this, and let him appeal all they want. I just don't see that going anywhere either at this point. And it's okay to appeal. It's his constitutional right. If he's convicted, to appeal. So I expect it. And it doesn't, that part doesn't scare me. It's very, very rare that you will see convictions overturned on appeal. It's rare. And it has to be something really, 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 really big to get that to happen. And especially in cases like this. So you just need to remember that when people are freaking you out or making you worried, and they keep saying, that he's going to win on appeal or appeal, whatever, let him appeal. Good God, let him appeal. That's what's supposed to happen in cases like this. I have faith in the jurors that will be chosen in this case, that they will listen to the evidence presented to them, and that they will come to a decision about guilt or innocence in this case. And I believe, again, that the 61 confessions of Richard Allen, as well as the video that Libby took of the man on the bridge that basically kidnapped them and murdered them, I believe absolutely will be the ending of Richard Allen, because he can't explain away where he was and what he was doing at the time that man was on the bridge. He was there, and he said he was there. He claimed he was there. People saw him. So where was he when this man on the bridge appeared before these girls? Where was he? He wasn't sitting on a bench somewhere on the trail, you guys. He would have been seen. He wasn't. The timeline in this case is so tight. It doesn't leave a lot of room for other actors and for other people to just appear and then disappear. That's just not how things work. And when you have someone who places themselves there, says they were there wearing the same thing that the bridge guy was wearing. And if you take a look at, I thought the Inquisitor did a really good job in his video today where he shows Ron Logan walking and bridge guy walking on the bridge, you know, the bridge video. You can see the difference. Ron Logan is much taller than bridge guy, much taller. You just can't throw those things out of the window and say they don't matter. No, he has no alibi, right? I mean, it's just, that's the thing. He has no alibi. And his defense team has not even tried to create one for him, in my opinion. They've not even bothered. You know? They've gone the other route, and they've tried to take all of our eyes off of Richard Allen and have our eyes on all these other things. Because if you create this shitstorm of innuendo and hearsay and, you know, crazy theories or whatever, you get people talking about that, and nobody's really looking at Richard Allen anymore. And again, yeah, Linda, you are absolutely right. He has no explanation as to how the bullet would have gotten there. He told them absolutely that he never let his gun out of his possession. He always had it, knew where it was, didn't loan it out to anyone. That pretty much rules out the fact that someone else could have placed your bullet between the two girls, right? Oh yeah, 63 clocks. The crime scene photos is such a huge horrible thing that this defense team did, and I won't ever forgive them for that. And I believe in my heart of hearts that they knew what was happening. Hi, Shelley. How are you? Good to see you. You know, they are pretty, you know, the FBI are, you know, people can say what they want to about the FBI. I've heard it all, especially in the last 5 or 6 years. You know, I've heard them get absolutely vilified in the media, and, you know, it's become a political thing as to let's throw the FBI under the bus. No matter which way you want to look at it, the men and women that work for the FBI are some of the best law enforcement minds in the world. We have one of the best labs with the FBI lab in the world. What they're able to do at Quantico is unbelievable. And they have been in this case with their feet in it the whole time. People can say what they want to, but that is the way it is. They were asked to come in by the Indiana State Police, and they have been in this case since the beginning. Hey, Robin, how are you? Hey, Mustang, good to see you. Hi, CJK. And so, yeah, Layla, you are so right. If the defense team had any credibility, they would have recognized from the start that the Odin theory had no nexus to this crime and therefore wouldn't be allowed. They've done Richard Allen no favors. They certainly haven't. It's a joke, actually. We that followed this case both on Reddit and YouTube and all other social media from the beginning, the Odin theory and Odin angle was looked at by everyone. Everybody looked at Brad Holder and Patrick Westphal. Those names were not brand new that just came up by the defense team of Richard Allen. They have been out there, and law enforcement looked at these guys. They looked at them. They looked at them early on. We know that. Of course, they're going to look at Brad Holder because of the relationship his son had with one of the victims, Abby Williams. And I am going to say relationship because they weren't dating. And I'm going to say it over and over again. Stop saying that. They weren't dating. She was 13 freaking years old. I'm like, oh my God. He lived in a different city. It's not like they jumped on their bicycles and rode to see one another. I think that their relationship was more of an online relationship. And I also believe that they had to look at Brad because of that relationship that Logan had. And they quickly ruled him out. They found out that he had an alibi for where he was. And they also found out, that maybe he has some weird ideas about this or that that's not mainstream. And the fact that he's, liking the Odinist stuff. I mean, we talked to Patrick Westphal. Frank Meister and I had him on a live stream with us. And we talked to him. And no matter what you want to say, Patrick was very straightforward with us and said, this is the way this is. No, that we didn't do anything like that. There's no such thing as Odinites, and there's no such thing as Odinist ritualistic killings. We didn't do anything like that. I believe him. Is he a good guy? I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I do know that I believe him when he talks about the Abby and Libby situation. And I also believe that what has been done to him and his family is horrifically wrong. The fact that a defense team can just randomly pull people's names out of a hat and stick them into some sort of a motion in a murder trial and drag their names through the mud, the proverbial mud, and basically ruin them legally with no recourse is something that should never happen in this country. That's one of my things about that whole situation. Because Patrick talks about how this affected his kids. And, and I can't even imagine trying to live through that minefield. It's just god awful. You have to stop and think about all the people's lives that have been touched by tragedy because of this case and because of what's happened here. We had a man commit suicide over those crime scene photos, you guys. That's a big deal to me. And the jury will never probably hear that. And that's sad. Not that that should be part of this, but I'm just saying, it's part of the case. Hey, Delulu Bishes. We have been waiting a long time for this case to make it to trial. And I don't believe that I don't believe that there will be a delay at this point unless something horrific happens. I just don't see it. I think we're going to go ahead full bore. And, you know, I can't imagine the emotions that Abby's family, her grandparents, her mom, you know, how Anna is feeling with all of this. We know how Libby's family feels. They've been much more vocal and more out front about it. But, you know, there's a gag order in the case, so there's very little that they can say anymore publicly about it. And sadly, I hate the way gag orders do that to families, but I understand it to a degree. Hey, Phil Bond, how are you? Hey, GonZo. Thank you, my dear. Much love to you too. And I know you're always here for me, and I love you for that. Thank you for being here. We are going to see justice in this case. I do not believe that we won't see justice. Now, again, we've talked about this at length, that it only takes one juror and we have a hung jury, and then they have to go back and do it again. And that's something that is definitely on Nick McClelland's mind. You will bet your bottom dollar that Nick is thinking those very things, that this case is, you know, could be decided on one juror saying, I'm going to hold out. I'm not going to vote for guilty. But justice takes, sometimes she moves slowly, as we have well seen in this case. And I remember thinking at the beginning, before we got to trial, before we got this far, before we had an arrest, I kept thinking to myself, I just don't think Nick McClelland's got it in him to do this murder case. I think we need to have a different prosecutor. I think we need a special prosecutor. I even did live streams on the fact that I was hopeful after they announced the Anthony Schott stuff. I was like, oh, please tell me that we're getting a special prosecutor. Please tell me. And, you know, he has more than stood up to the task. He's been professional. He has dealt very well with the antics and the craziness that the defense team has brought to him. And I am proud to say that I honestly believe that he has done a really good job for the families and for the victims in this case. I don't know about anything other than what SP74 just said. I absolutely feel that Judge Gull has this. She's strong. She's smart. She knows the law. She is not going to let these two buffoons, sorry, intimidate her. And she has basically told them, this is what's what. This is my courtroom. You're going to abide by the rules. And this is, you know, this is what's going to happen. And she will keep this case on track. She has already shown that that is of utmost importance to her. Witchcraft says, I really hope and pray that Judge Gull punishes these attorneys that have done wrong, picture leaks, naming people that had nothing to do with it, etc. when this trial is over. It'll be really interesting to see what does happen. If anything happens to these attorneys for the leaked photos, because I really, really agree with you. I really feel that that was uncalled for behavior on their part, and it created a nightmare. But that's what they hoped for. They wanted a nightmare online. They wanted social media to pick it up and to run with it, and exactly in the fashion that happened. It's exactly what they wanted. And unfortunately, some YouTubers played right into their hands. I get it, Salty Beach, but I don't believe that she is going to live stream this. I do not believe that any of that's going to happen. You can absolutely thank the YouTubers for that made her realize that it would be too hard to handle it and keep it under control. And she decided that she needed control more than she needed it to become a shit show. Hey, Gail, how are you, my dear? Thank you so much for your kind message the other day. I really do appreciate it. I know that I didn't come on and tell everybody what was going on, but I did let Frank know. And he told me that he did let people know what was happening with my family and my brother and stuff. I thought about doing a community post, but I just didn't have time, you guys. I mean, for those of you that have ever had anyone in ICU or been in ICU yourself, which I told my brother, it's almost 2 years to the day of when I was in intensive care, where Steve from True Crime Web took over my channel for me when I had my own heart issue. And I'm like, I told my brother, I said, what was with that? Were you trying to, hit my anniversary of that or something? Because it was kind of crazy. But it is slander to accuse innocent people and be able to, like I said, bring them into a court case where they have no involvement. And we already know that there's no involvement. And in a lot of ways, like I said, I feel that this defense team basically just decided, this case is huge and it's going to make big names for us, and our names are going to be out there all over, and look at all the money we're going to make, and the books we'll be able to write, and we're going to have people asking us to come speak on it afterwards. And I just think their heads have gotten bigger than their bodies. And I firmly believe that for at least the last 18 months, neither one of these men have Richard Allen's best interest at heart. They have claimed that their client is absolutely innocent, and yet they've let him sit in jail, in prison, mind you, which they've complained about all this time, instead of getting him to trial and getting their innocent man his day in court. To me, that's the first thing that screams to me an innocent man. If an innocent man is innocent of all charges, he's going to do everything to get himself in front of a jury and in front of a court system as quickly as possible. And he is going to instruct whoever's working for him that that's what he wants to do. And that's not what's happened. Yeah, SP74, that is absolutely right, but it's not because of the letter. It's because the Supreme Court, when they went before the Supreme Court to get themselves reinstated, the Supreme Court looked at their attorney that day and said, you are aware that if we allow what you are asking to take place and bring back Baldwin and Rosie, that your client is basically giving up his appeal rights on ineffective counsel. And they said yes. And so that was all the Supreme Court needed to know, that Richard Allen was aware that he was not going to be able to appeal on ineffective counsel, because that's why they were removed. She removed them because she deemed them buffoons. Absolutely deemed them buffoons. And she's like, you're done. You're not doing your job that you've been appointed to do. I'm removing you from this case. But they took it before the Supreme Court to argue, no, we need back on the case. We need a redo. She didn't have the right to do that. Even though the Supreme Court knew she had the right, they wanted to make sure that when they ruled to bring them back, okay, be afraid. Remember when your grandma used to tell you, be careful what you wish for? That's basically what the Supreme Court was saying to Richard Allen through his counsel in front of them. Be careful what you wish for, Richard, because if you're asking us to reinstate these two attorneys who have been removed from your case on your benefit, for your benefit. See, everybody who's so pro Richard Allen didn't see that Fran Gull removed them because she felt that Richard Allen was not getting effective counsel from them based on what they did. All of us saw it. We all watched it happen. And here we are. A year later. Here we are, a year later. They're brought back onto the case in January. And here we are, headed to trial. And do we feel that these attorneys have done anything differently since they were brought back? No. I really feel that these guys are in it for themselves. They're not in it for their client. And it's, I mean, it's just crazy. 63 clocks, yes. The whole world has been listening to this bull. Looks like a slam dunk harassment and slander, especially with absolutely no evidence or facts. Totally irresponsible, in my opinion. It is. And everybody has been watching it. And most people, hey, Josh the Posh, most people with common sense, and we all know common sense isn't common, knows that what they've witnessed is absolutely bunk, And I do feel for Richard Allen's family. I do, because they are victims. I said that. I said that the day that Richard Allen was arrested, and I knew that what was going to happen, and I knew that people were going to throw them under the bus. People were going to scream and yell and say, why didn't the wife do this? And why didn't the daughter do this? And how could they not know? And all of this. And obviously, these people have never studied criminals, and these people have never studied these types of people and the way that these people can create what they did, what they do, and how they live in two separate worlds. Richard Allen was very good at compartmentalizing both his personal life, work life, and this life that he had manifested after the commission of this crime. Because he lived in a small community of 2,900 people for 5 years, knowing what he had done and witnessing the heartbreak and the tragedy and the sadness all around him. People talking about it, people going over the case, people, saying who could have done this, what kind of person. He was there for all that, you guys. He went and played pool twice a week. Sorry, guys. I was just looking at your guys' chat. I love to see when you guys are going back and forth in there. It's really great. Yeah, that $12,000 Georgia trip should come back to haunt them. I still say that is an absolute farce, and the court should never pay that to me. That is ridiculous. Like I said, YouTubers had that picture. There was no reason they could have given me 12 grand. I would have gladly given them the picture. It's just insane. And somebody said, well, they had to have the original. And I'm like, really? In this day and age, when things can be emailed and things can be sent by internet and even legal documents. I mean, we just purchased a car after I hit a deer last month. And we did everything online. I mean, we did everything. Yeah, we went to a place and actually, but everything was, we sat there and signed everything. It was all done electronically. We didn't have a whole bunch of stuff that we had to physically sign. We did it all electronically, and then they printed it all out and emailed it to us. Yeah. That's the day and age we're in. You know, it's almost 2025, right? And they've been so back and forth with what they do and everything. It's just this defense team is, you know, 1 minute they're screaming, oh, you know, our client due process, it's been screwed up and we have due process. And then the next minute it's delay. It's like, really? What do you really want here? Because they were asking for a quick and speedy trial. They kept saying his speedy trial rights were denied. Really? Who's the ones who have been putting the brakes on this case from day one? Who, since Richard Allen's arrest, who put the brakes on? It wasn't Nick McClelland in the state of Indiana. And the family will get justice. I believe they're going to get justice. I know it's been a long time coming for them. And, you know, Kelsey is pregnant. And this is, you know, it's got to weigh heavily on all of them because they want a resolution. They want to feel a resolution. They know in their hearts that no matter what happens, it's not going to bring Libby back. It's not going to bring Abby back, but they still deserve justice for what happened to them. And I just, like I said, I'm looking forward to next week or the week after, because I'm going to have a live stream with Susan Hendricks and Mike King. And Mike King is from Profiling Evil. If you guys haven't watched his YouTube channel, you need to. He's amazing. And he's just amazing. I'm a huge fan of his. I have watched him for many, many years. He's always been an expert on used to come on CNN all the time. He's on Court TV now. I see him a lot there. Nancy Grace has him a lot, but he knows his stuff, and I am thrilled. And we're going to talk about Delphi, and we are going to talk about some of the things that have gone on and are going to be going on in this case. And I believe, you know, Susan has such an insight in this case because she's been there since day one, and she has cultivated a relationship not only with the families, but she has cultivated a relationship with law enforcement as well. And so, you know, as Susan would say, these people in this community have lived through a horrific tragedy, and it has pulled a lot of them together. And they all kind of are sitting back, holding their breaths, waiting for justice. And justice is coming. And it's really important. And Susan is not happy about some of what's gone on with some of these people and all of these rumors and lies and things that have been said and done, just for sensationalism and for people to have content, or for people to make money off of, whichever way you want to look at it. She's not happy about that either. I mean, when she decided to do the book on Delphi, she talked to the families and said, I'm thinking about doing a book on this case because of how it touched her, but also how the family touched her when she spent time with them and went to Delphi. And, they said yes, because they realized where her heart was, and that she was 100% compassionate and caring about them, much more so than someone else that I know that is in the news media that should not be able to be talking or speaking about this case, but sure does on Twitter all the time. And I'm speaking about Barbara McDonald, and I hope she's watching, because I used to respect her, and I have no respect for her. Absolutely none. She continues to just push the Richard Allen is innocent crap, and it drives me crazy. CJK says, I wonder if that will find its way to Carter and Holman for grin and giggles, along with their pics, the nutty P out on his page. God bless all of you who are fortunate to get to go on the walk. I will be watching. Give us a wave and shout out hands. Yes. Like I said, I wish that I was going to be there tomorrow, but my heart will be with everyone. And I will watch as I can. I know that Frank Meister will be live. I'm not sure who else will be live out there, but I will certainly be keeping my eyes and ears open tomorrow during my birthday celebration with my grandson. And yeah, Olivia, she certainly did. I lost all respect for her as a journalist. I always thought that Barbara was for the families and really wanted justice in this case and was really about finding the truth. And she is just off the deep end. It's mind-boggling to me. Absolutely. She is, the untruths that she tells and everything, she's just, I just, like I said, I'm just floored. And the walk for the girls tomorrow is at 1:30, Josh. It is at 1:30 at the Freedom Bridge parking lot in Delphi. And yeah, I again thank Randy Gravitt and Frank Meister for getting this together, and having them come out and do this right before the trial starts. I think it is so important to bring the girls to the forefront of this, because again, they're forgotten so often. Just like Rescue told me, there's people out there that still talk about this case and they won't mention Abby and Libby. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah, SP74 same. I cannot watch Barbara McDonald or Bob Mata. I have no respect for either one of them. Absolutely none. And I get that Bob Motta is a defense attorney, and I understand all of that, and I understand having a defense attorney attitude. But when you're pushing crap on a case that you have no interest in, you don't have a stake in this game. Why would you do what he did during this whole scenario with Richard Allen? I mean, and I said to everybody, why? Because there isn't a defense attorney out there that's going to stand up and say somebody's guilty. Nobody would hire them. Nobody. You're not looking to see your defense attorney go on TV or national television and talk about your client being guilty. That's not what people want when they want to hire defense attorneys. So you have to take everything that these people say with a grain of salt. But I haven't seen the unhinged video on Bob Motta, but like I said, when I saw Barbara McDonald draw the sticks that night on court TV, I was done. I was furious. I was absolutely furious. The FBI has said this was not a ritual killing. They believe that it was an undoing, that whoever did this felt remorse and wanted to undo what they had done. And so they covered the bodies. And they covered the bodies the best way they could with what they had available to them. And I've been in that woods. I've been on those trails, and there are tons of sticks everywhere. It's not unusual. Nobody had to bring a saw and cut stuff off of trees. Hey, Steve. How are you, my dear? I have missed you. I know how busy you are. I talked to Ruckus, and I know how busy you are. I hope you're okay. I hope you didn't sustain damage in the hurricane. My heart is with you. I know that you drove your in-laws to Georgia to get them out of harm's way. I hope that the rest of your family fared okay and that everything is well. I miss you. I know Ruckus is okay. I already spoke to him. I was trying to keep tabs on both of you. And I know that he's heading to Evansdale really soon. So I know you're a busy guy. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to Steve over at True Crime Web, make sure that you go over there and subscribe to him. And that if you're able to give to his foundation, please do, because everything that he's doing is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I'm wishing you the best of luck, because I'm serious. You guys are amazing. And I know that you're working really, really hard. And criminals that are out there that think that they've gotten away with crimes, when you got Steve and Ruckus on your tail, you better be scared. Ruckus told me that Steve is unbelievable and how he does his work and how methodical he is about things. And Steve's got it going on. So please give your wife a big hug for me, and make sure Mrs. Steve knows that we miss her as well. And hug those grandbabies. Bye, kitty cat. Yeah, 63 clocks. He would probably go early. Frank usually gets there early. The walk itself usually doesn't start. I don't think it's going to start till 1:30, but he'll be live as people are coming and arriving. And they all amass there, and everybody kind of meets and talks, and as people are coming and stuff. And then once they feel that everybody that's coming has showed up, then they all take off together. And that's kind of how the walk works. So that's why he would be going live at 12:30 versus right when the walk starts. Oh, Stephanie, trust me, when I heard that Keegan Kline and James Chadwell were going to be, or they wanted them as witnesses for this case, I was like, oh, they have really gone off the deep end. Really gone off the deep end. But I don't really see her allowing it. So that's just me. I don't think Chadwell has anything to offer. And we all know that she's already said that the Klines are not going to be a part of this case because they don't have anything to offer. I think one of the things that we've all realized with Keegan Kline is that he lies. He's lied a lot. And he used the Abby and Libby case to get money from people on his books, and he told all kinds of lies. And I think that that's where we are with him. Oh, wow. Steve said he'll see Mrs. Steve next week. He asked when I left, how was her hurricane kit? She advised her kit was heading out west. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like I said, we don't know what happened last week when they did the ex parte. So we don't know what that was all about. And we don't know any of that. So these witnesses that have been called could very well have something to do with the ex parte, but we don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, guys, things are happening. And I think, what's the defense up to now? They're just doing their jobs. They're trying to put in reasonable doubt any way they can, even if it sounds absolutely ridiculous. They are still going to throw it out there. Yeah, they can't claim he wasn't mentally competent, because if he wasn't mentally competent, they would have gone to the court and asked for him to be examined. And that would have stopped the trial, and that would have stopped everything in the case. They would have taken Richard Allen out of prison and taken him to a mental facility, had him deemed incompetent to stand trial, and then he would have gotten treated until he was competent to stand trial. That's how it works. They didn't do any of that. Josh, I think it's very possible that once the trial gets underway, mark my words, in the opening statement that Nick gives, he's going to give us a lot. He's going to tell us the story of what happened that day and how Richard Allen is the man who caused it to happen. Listen to what is said in opening statements. It's very, very important. And also remember, as we have talked about so much on my channel, just because the defense brings it up in opening statement doesn't mean they have to ever come back to it. So it's a different ball game with the state. When the state talks about things in their opening statement, they have to hit all those marks. But the defense doesn't. And the defense can bring up all kinds of things. Because remember, the defense doesn't have to prove anything. All the defense has to do is plant seeds of doubt in those jurors' minds. And that's what they do in their opening statements. Remember that, you guys. Remember the opening statement that was given in the Casey Anthony trial by her attorney. He brought up a lot of things that he never went back and addressed when he was doing his own witnesses or the cross-examining of the state witnesses. True Crime Web says, Steve says, I believe the CSI experts review will rule the day, and I agree. I think the crime scene investigators are going to be top-notch. They're going to basically give us everything, and we need to listen to what they have to say. They're going to talk about chain of command, chain evidence, chain of everybody's talking about the fact that the bullet may not have been properly cataloged and the chain of evidence was broken and all of that. That's going to all come out in the trial, guys. And we're going to find out that that's all debunked and that's all crap, that's not true. And yeah, again, Delulu, psychosis is not something you come in and out of at whim. It's not something that you can do when it's convenient for you. It's not something that you can play with. So, do I believe that it's possible that Richard Allen is remorseful in what he did that day? Absolutely, it's possible. Could it be that guilt has eaten away at him and caused him to, have all of these mental issues? Absolutely. But all I can tell you is that he also could just be playing a game, a huge game. These criminals learn how to play the game. So, hey, Red Queen, how are you? Good to see you. But yeah, I mean, it's going to get exciting. I'm telling you that I will try my best to give us an update every couple of days. I'm hoping to be able to do that and basically be able to go live and talk about things. And then we can all discuss it once the trial gets underway. I don't think I'm going to be going live every day after jury selection, so don't expect that. Jury selection, like I said, is kind of boring. Once the jury has been seated, that's when things are going to pick up. And as I told you, once she seats the jury, they're immediately instructed to go home, get everything that they need, and meet back at the courthouse in Allen County, where they will get on a bus, a charter bus, and they will be bused over to where they will be staying, which is in Lafayette, I believe. And they will take them there and they will house them until the next day when they are to appear for the beginning of the trial. And this is a huge allergy. I see you guys are talking about allergy season, and they're doing here in the Midwest and Central Illinois, where I'm at, they are harvesting like crazy right now, and we have those pesky Asian beetles, and that look. Everybody mistakes them for ladybugs, but they're not. They're Asian beetles. They're like orange instead of red, and they bite. But they dump them in the fields in the summer to combat pests, so that when they go in and start harvesting, they just fly and go everywhere. They're everywhere right now because they're harvesting the corn. So our corn is harvesting, and the dust is in the air, and it's bad for allergies right now. But the weather, that and the stink bugs are just really bad right now, and I can't even sit outside on my deck because they're just flying every direction. And every time I open my back door to let Loki out, that they just are amassed on the screen, and I hate them when they come in the house. They'll live for months in your house. I hate those things. And then they fly in my hair and freak me out. But yeah, it's interesting. But my heart goes out to everyone who was affected by the hurricanes. Back-to-back hurricanes is never a good thing, and back-to-back hurricanes that hit in the same area is just catastrophic. And there were so many. Yes, the bugs on your windshield. There you go. The pictures that were coming out of Florida were just horrific. And the pictures from the previous hurricane, Georgia, North Carolina, the stuff in Asheville, North Carolina was just so sad. And that whole area. So my heart goes out to them, for anybody that has been affected or knows someone who's affected. And if you guys are able to help with any of the hurricane relief, there's tons of places where you can donate. You can donate money, or you can donate supplies. I know that there is, I think they've actually said that they don't want people sending supplies. They just would prefer you donate the money so that they absolutely get exactly what they need. But yes, I hate stink bugs, but spiders are cool. You're absolutely right. I was just sitting here looking at all my spiders. I've missed them because I've been here. Like tomorrow I need to, once I get Jackson in bed tonight after this live, I'm going to turn on all the lights and feed all of my spiders because they haven't eaten. It's been a week since I fed them. Spiders can go a long time, guys, without eating. So don't freak out that I'm being a bad mom. But I'm going to give them all some really good dinner tonight. And they need it because I've neglected them. So, yeah, the Asheville area in North Carolina was just horrible. There are so many people. I was telling a friend of mine, whenever you have that much water hit the mountains that fast, the way it did, you're going to have massive flooding downstream and anything in its path. And that's kind of exactly what happened. And it's really super sad. But yeah. So guys, that's all I had for you guys tonight. I'm sorry I was late getting here. For all of you that have stuck with me, I will be putting out new content on my other channel, The Twisted Hippie. So please don't think that I've given that channel up. It's just that, like I said, I've had a lot going on in my real life, and I just haven't had a chance to record anything. Steve says, as I drove through South Georgia last week, heartbreaking scenes of destruction. Mrs. Steve sent some images of our current neighbors. Sad, but nothing compared to what happened south of us. Yeah, it's so sad. I mean, it's just, I was watching some of the live coverage of this past hurricane, and when it was a hurricane, when it was a category 5, my God, I'm glad it didn't hit landfall at a category 5, but that sucker is huge. That hurricane was enormous. And the tornadoes that came out of it are so destructive. It's just crazy. But the other thing is, you guys, I don't know if I told you this. Before I leave, I will tell you, I do have a new pet in the menagerie of my office with all of my spiders and stuff. I have a panther chameleon, and his name is Yoshi, and he is a special needs chameleon. The pet store actually saw me in there one day when I was there to get food for my spiders, pick up my crickets, and get some stuff for Loki. And one of the girls that's worked there for a very long time came up to me and she's like, Kristen, we have this special needs chameleon. We've had him for a while, and we would love to see you take him home and take good care of him because we know that you would. And so they explained to me that he had this issue with his tongue and it doesn't come out all the way, and he was having trouble eating. So I said I'd take him, and he sits right next to me now. His enclosure's here. I'll make a video and show you guys what he looks like and put it on my other channel. But his name is Yoshi, and he's really cool. I really, really like him. So, but yeah, you guys, my heart goes out to everyone that's been affected by these horrific storms. Please keep everyone in your prayers. Keep good thoughts for Steve from True Crime Web and Ruckus. I know Ruckus is getting ready to travel to Evansdale. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of movement going on in the cases that Steve and Ruckus are working together. And Yoshi's a chameleon. He is a panther chameleon. Whenever you see pictures of chameleons, it's the big ones that are the large chameleons that are really multicolored. Those are panther chameleons, and that's what I have. He's absolutely beautiful. I will have to show him to you sometime. But anyway, so yeah, Steven and Ruckus are busy guys. And, you know, keep them in your thoughts and prayers. If you're able to send some cash their way, please do. Because, you know, what they do is immensely important, and it's absolutely vital that we keep them in their coffee and, you know, their waffles and all the things that they need, because Lyric and Elizabeth deserve justice too. And Drew and his family have been waiting a long time. A long time for justice. And we need justice in that case. So I'm absolutely thrilled that these two men are actively working it, because I think they'll get to the bottom of things. But good night, everybody. Have a great, safe rest of your weekend. For those of you who stopped in tonight, please make sure that you hit the like button, because it does put me up into the algorithm for YouTube, keeps me up there so people see my content. Make sure you subscribe so you know when I'm going to go live next, and check out my my other channel, The Twisted Hippie, if you ever get a chance. I talk about all things not true crime on that channel. So guys, have a great one. I'm sorry that I've been absent, but I promise I'm going to be right here for the duration of the Abby and Libby trial. Good night, everybody. And thank you to all my moderators, for everyone who showed up tonight. I so appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. His colors change, CJK, depending on his mood. If he's afraid, his colors change. If he's sleeping, his colors change. So yeah, he gets more vibrant. The blue in him on his sides, because he's red and white, and he's got blue lines that come down in his body. The blue will come out in him. He's just super cool. I just love him. He's really neat. So anyway, but thanks, guys. Justice for Abby and Libby. And prayers for everyone who's making it to Delphi tomorrow for the walk. Thank you for going. And I will miss all of you. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.